Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to your weekly dose of newsy infotainment. It's Let's Be Treasonable, coming to you from the luxurious studios of Radio Titans in Los Angeles with your cognitive dissidents on the panel this week. You know him from the Jimmy Dore Show. You know him from the Stephanie Miller Show. I always mess that up. And you know him from Let's Be Treasonable. Always a pleasure to have him here, ladies and gentlemen, Ron Placone.
Hello, everybody. Pie in the Sky Dreamer, Ron Placone here. Pie in the Sky Dreamer, thinking that we can have the same health care that all other countries in the industrialized nation have. Pie in the Sky Dreamer.
Hell, what about having the same health care that our senators have?
I didn't know you were a fellow Putin puppet, but good to know.
We'll get into that.
Fellow Pie in the Sky guy. Fellow Pie in the Sky guy next to me, David.
Got to keep your pies somewhere.
And you're sounding like also, a Bernie bro.
Why, have I been demeaning people and screaming, "Don't scare me, man. Why are you trying to scare me?" when people tell me the facts? I don't think I sound that much like a Bernie bro.
We can get into this.
Putting the burn
into
Bernie bro.
Because that doesn't sound like a Bernie bro.
It sounds like the ones I experienced online. But
you need to make some new friends.
I'm not talking about Bernie supporters. I'm talking about finger quotes implied Bernie bro registered trademark of
I don't know what that means exactly. Anyway, I use it ironically.
Can I introduce the rest of the panel?
I guess so.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm having a blast here with the Ron and Dave show, but other folks were kind enough to come in today, such as comedian, social activist, and
your
friend
favorite
of the show
lesbian, your favorite lesbian too, right?
Well,
I'm not your favorite. Oh my God!
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Okay, I gotcha.
Just because, yeah.
Yes, I understand. I understand the legalities of it. I understand
some lesbian's going to wind up kicking my ass.
Yeah, they'll probably stab you in the back. I get you.
Well, they usually come at you.
We are
from the
tough.
front,
We're very helpful.
Sideways. Anyway, you're Michelle March.
Yes,
and
I
you are
am
here.
Michelle
Thank
March.
you for
I'm
coming
trying to
in.
build bridges between the Bernie bros and the Hillary people, but I just need them to fuck. I need the breeders need to fuck and make a nice, beautiful baby that allows health care and free education and can do it according to whatever we can. History plus the people.
Well, we already have a baby in the Oval Office. I don't think we can wait long enough for that hypothetical baby to grow up.
He just has baby hands, that's all.
And a baby mind.
And a baby whiner.
Anyway, also, as always, joining us, the black voice of reason, Mr. Tymon Shipp.
Powers to the people. OJ is free. OJ is free.
So does that mean you're finally going to get your OJ check?
I probably will. Yeah, man. And my 40 acres and a mule, damn it. I've been waiting a while. Reparations is on the way.
I'm still waiting to find out if he's going to be named MVP of the parole hearing, because if he is, he wins a brand new 1993 Ford Bronco.
There you go.
Fingers crossed that OJ gets everything he deserves. And joining us, not in person, but by the magic of pre-recorded sound, our dear friend and 5-time Emmy nominee comedian Will Durst with this week's Burst of Durst.
Hey guys, Will Durst here, remembering back when Donald Trump boasted I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and wouldn't lose voters. Well, now that we've seen him operate, we have a pretty good idea how that would go down. First, he'd shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Then he'd maintain that no one in the middle of Fifth Avenue was shot. Then he'd claim he was nowhere near Fifth Avenue. Then he'd deny that Fifth Avenue exists. Witnesses that identified him as the person who shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue would be disregarded because they went to college. Then he'd claim he had teams of investigators working hard on discovering who shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Then the videotape of him shooting someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue would be called fake. Then he'd insist that the person who shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue was secretly hired by Hillary Clinton's campaign. Then he'd say he would publicly announce whether he had shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue in a very short period of time. Then he would point out a squirrel with a fluffy tail running across the middle of Fifth Avenue. Then he'd say that it doesn't matter if he shot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue because that person was already dead. Then he'd say he was just counter-shooting. Then he'd say there was something very suspicious about the person who was shot in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Then he'd say that Democrats had shot many more people in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Then he'd say that the person shot in the middle of Fifth Avenue deserved to be shot. Then shooting people in the middle of Fifth Avenue would become a very popular excursion option for guests staying at Trump Tower, receiving 4.5 stars on TripAdvisor. For Let's Be Treasonable, I'm Will Durst.
Thank you very much, Will. Yeah, it has been an interesting week for pronouncements from the president. The week started out with an amazing interview in the New York Times where it is astounding that anyone lets this guy near a microphone anymore.
How about near the nuclear codes?
Well, you know, even more reason he shouldn't be allowed near anything electronic. Leave it to Barron. He's good with the computers, from what I understand. But in the interview, one of the things he said was that if he had known that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was going to recuse himself from the Russia investigation, or in other terms that may be understandable to the common man, if he knew he was going to follow the law, then he wouldn't have appointed him Attorney General.
I prefer people that don't recuse. I prefer... It wasn't a very good impression. But that's not my thing.
Well, and he doesn't leave a good impression with anybody, so it's fine. But what came out yesterday, late in the afternoon, was that our intelligence sources now know that Jeff Sessions actually did discuss campaign affairs.
Shut up,
with
David.
the Russians.
They never did that. That's got to be a lie.
The Russians reported it back to the home base, and since we monitor their communications, we got that, and now we know. My question is that earlier in the week, and actually I think he started talking about it last week, Jeff Sessions was talking about bringing back civil asset forfeiture to punish not convicted criminals, but people who are suspected of crimes. So now that we know that there is enough evidence showing that Jeff Sessions may have been colluding with the Russians, when does the Department of Justice show up at his house to take all his shit?
Yeah.
Just because it may have been acquired in the course of committing these crimes against the state. Any thoughts?
They only want to take the little people's shit. You know that.
Yeah,
They just want to go door to door and go, hey, give me your weed, give me your...
Not the little people, it's the drug dealers. It's the people with the good shit.
But not even just that, you're right? It's just your petty stuff. They're just petty, so they're going to go for this kind of thing.
Here's my whole...
Stick it to the poor again.
Here's my whole issue with, because it's a very complicated issue. Like the whole Russia thing, like the whole sequence of events is very complicated. And kind of here's where I stand on it. And I think this reflects a lot of people on the left. I'm a bit wary because I don't think Trump's going to face any consequences. And I'm a bit wary, and actually that's an understatement. I'm extremely wary when I hear people say, this is an act of war. When I hear Cory Booker going, this is an act of war, this is that. When I hear people that are, supposed to be like progressives calling Russia our enemy, they're not our enemy. I mean, like Clintons have worked with the Russians. The Bush went fishing with Putin. Like, I'm not saying he's not I'm not saying he's a good guy.
Bush looked into his eyes and into his soul.
Into his soul, right. Like he's an oligarch and he's a jerk, and so is Trump, and they're both oligarch jerks. And it's no secret that Putin and Trump are buddies. Yeah, but as far as like trying to drum up World War III over this, that's different. I say go through with the investigation, and if you find something, then we handle it. You find something that proves yes, there was actual collusion, there was treason committed. Then we handle it. I'm still against impeaching Trump before the midterms because I think that it would be a bad move politically, because I think you would get Pence, the Republicans would distance themselves from Trump, the Democrats would lose again in 2018 and again in 2020. I think we're better off with an incompetent psychopath in there than a competent psychopath. Call me crazy, but that's just how I see it. I mean, that's how I see it.
Well, his base is still backing him. Trump's base has not left him at all.
There is more buyer's remorse than we're told, though. I really do believe that. I mean, there are people that, shows that I'm a part of, people calling in. There is more buyer's remorse because Trump has backpedaled on literally every promise he made, as we knew he would. Everybody sitting in this room, and probably everybody that listens to this show, knows that Republican populist is an oxymoron. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's like saying, you know what? I think this three-eyed raven unicorn is going to help our country out. It's not a thing. But people bought into it, and now they're getting buyer's remorse. So my only thing with this whole issue is, okay, let's just let the professionals finish their investigation. And until then, it's going to be something that we kind of mention, not something that we amplify 24/7 like the corporate media does, because it's good for their ratings, not because they actually give a shit about justice. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, we really focus on all the horrific policies this dude has out there and how he broke his promises to everybody that voted for him. If we did that, this dude's approval rating would be in single digits, and he'd be a sitting duck in 2018. But they don't do that.
But
they
you know what? I don't know about that. I don't know if they would. I sit and talk to guys, and rich or poor, whatever. They believe that this guy, they felt that Obama was the devil, and this guy is their savior. Mm-hmm. They believe that he will give him a chance. Let him do what he's going to do. We got to see what he's going to be. And they've interviewed people in Philadelphia. They go way down south. Let him do it. And some just couldn't buy into what Obama was. They just could not. I mean, and they're still thinking there are people still believe that Obama is a Muslim, and they still believe that he wasn't born here.
There's some people that you're never going to win.
Yeah,
and there's there's a large portion. The people that you just described are racist. Yeah, and there is a large portion.
No. They do not believe.
If you buy into the birther thing, you're racist. I'm sorry.
They do not believe that he's a racist.
We're like beyond racism. We're talking about the people who do not believe that Donald Trump Jr. met with a Russian attorney, even after Donald Trump Jr. himself admitted it and said, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with it."
The fact that he could say that this was fake news, that he could come out and say it's fake news. There are guys, no matter how much money they make, they could be rich or poor. If they're Donald Trump, they believe that shit. And I hate, because everything is compared with Hitler, but Hitler was one of the first guys that hollered fake news.
Yeah, he villainized the press.
And this guy has followed. You hate to say it because every time they say, "Oh, it's Hitler," but in some ways, a lot of people steal from history and they try to make things the same.
And they also deny the Holocaust. Okay, right. These are usually the same people that deny the Holocaust. So, this is where we are, people.
But I think that
neither our best nor our brightest.
Right. I mean, I think that they really believe that this guy is the future. They think that he, and really, have you ever said, they say President Trump? Sometimes when I hear it on the news, it just scares the shit out of me that we actually made this guy a president.
I know. No, most of us didn't.
And the fact he was a reality TV star. We put a reality TV star in the White House.
Enough people, and again, it's not many. It's 27% at best, but enough people. Again, based on a fucked up system that has roots in slavery.
That's right.
By the way, I mean, I don't know why people aren't screaming from the rooftop that it's time for the Electoral College to go the fuck away.
It's
been time.
The problem is they were screaming it after the election, and now they're nowhere to be seen.
When were they screaming it? Honestly, I'm honestly asking you. I missed that.
You know why they can't scream it? Because Republicans own all media.
What was what's the history?
Corporations own media, which are pretty much Republicans.
What's the history behind the electoral college?
The electoral college was because they didn't want
representative votes.
They didn't want representative votes. They didn't want recently freed slaves to get a fair say. So it was based on land ownership and stuff like that. And to this day, if you're in Wyoming, your vote matters more than someone in California. And, the whole, farce argument, it prevents mob rule, that's complete and utter bullshit. No, it can be traced back to racism, to slavery. It's a dated system. It's a system that needs to go the fuck away.
Ron is the last of... there's not a lot of white dudes out there who know history well enough to discuss it in a way that would say what you just said. I mean, there's not a lot... There needs to be more guys speaking in that genre, letting people know about things, because they don't. You can have this conversation, and you will not hear a white dude say, "Hey, dude, that's born in slavery. That shit should go away." You're not going to hear a dude say that. I'm serious.